The PL Show is brought to you by Kel Chaco, Kel 360, and Kel Kids Toothpaste. A good physician, they say, treats the disease, but a great physician would treat the patient with the disease, and it's even better if it's a woman. I guess you have an idea already who we're talking to. We're talking to a woman who's dedicated her life to saving the lives of other people. Makwaba ebedumedie no woman wafa hoka eye Kel toothpaste brands, Kel Kids, Kel 360 and Kel Chaco. Me makeup yi IFFF we cover GH and a. And speaking of makeup, there's someone else who's enjoyed the beauty of cover GH and their brushes, and I want you to meet her right now. Come on now, Doc. Drum roll. Where is the drum roll? I'm not feeling it. And look at us, we are twinning, no? Anyway, how are you? It's good to see you. It's good to see you. And you look so fabulous. Really? And you make me want to cut my hair. Oh. Because short hair looks so good on you.
Thank you.
Anyway, take a seat.
Thank you.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm fat Missy Way.
Pacho Bantama.
Matias.
It's her smile.
The fresh breath.
Me Jidi say we use Kel 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Kel 360 toothpaste.
Gaskia, Kel 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim jom kasan. Ile ko saying. Kel 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling when you know Kel 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Kel 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
It's good to see you once again. But your name, Dr. Laurencia Naa Norley Ankomah. Naa Norley and Ankomah. How are we going together?
Okay, so Ankomah is my marriage name.
Okay.
Yeah. So my initial name or my maiden name is Tete. Oh. So Laurencia Naa Norley Tete, and I got married and I changed.
You dropped Daddy's name real
so
quick.
Ankomah.
Real quick. You said sharp. Daddy is watching. I'm not sure he'll be happy. Let's talk about Laurencia Tete.
Okay.
What was growing up like for you?
I would say growing up was quite an interesting part because I had to travel a lot of regions in Ghana. Mm-hmm. So I had been with my parents until my parents divorced. I think around the age of let's say I was around 7 years or 8 years. So I had to move to Koforidua from Accra. From Koforidua, I had to come back. At a point in time, I had to go stay with my grandmom because then I was the only child by then. Oh. So with a single mother who has to take care of her daughter, I was left in the hands of my grandmother and my great-grandmother. So growing up I spent most of my time with these two old ladies, so to say. And you can imagine living with your grandma or your parents. So that is how the early stages of my life was like. Yeah.
I want to hear the story of, first living with your grandparents. Yeah. What was it like? Were you spoiled? Because that's what a lot of people think or say, at least.
Yeah, I would say I was because at that time I was the only child or granddaughter. So I had other aunties and other uncles, but they hadn't had any children yet. So I was the only one. So everybody was just on me. Hey, hi, nah, hi. And everybody was just all over me. My grandmom was all over me. Anywhere she goes, she would speak so well about me. Meeting my granddaughter, she's so smart. Oh. And anything I wanted, I got it. Yeah. So I would say I was a bit pumped.
And you also got a lot of the errands.
Hey, you get it. You get that a lot. There was a time my grandma sent me to the seashore to go get fish. Ooh. And she told me what to do. When you get there, look at the type of fish you are buying salmon. When you get there, look at the number of fishes they've gathered. Then you have to ask for a discount. I think I was around 10 or 11.
You were only 11?
Yeah.
And you were sent to go and haggle price?
Yes. And I came back and, I got a thumbs up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
If we were to roll it back a little, you talk about the divorce between your parents. How old were you when they part ways?
I think I was in class 3, so around 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
That was when my...
Did you know what was going on?
Yes, because it was quite, the way it happened, it was quite obvious.
Okay.
Rather unfortunate, my father had to take my mom's things out of the house.
Right.
So as a child, I saw that, okay, if your father has taken your things out of your house, then what does it mean? They don't want you to stay with them. They don't want you to be together. So I actually caught it right from the beginning.
How do you think your lack of relationship with your dad impacted you as a growing child and perhaps even informed some of the decisions you make as an adult?
Well, I wouldn't say it had so much impact on me. Like I said early on, I had people making up for that room. But at a point, I felt I wasn't getting that love, that fatherly love. So as I was getting older or adolescence, I was like, okay, so maybe do I need to get a boyfriend because I'm not getting that.
No, the worst consideration.
I tell you. But later, I'll cry a little, but I was like, oh, don't worry, you have people around you, they're taking care of you, they're making you happy, you lack nothing. I lack nothing. Because my mom made sure I went to the best of schools, even though she was the only one taking care of me. So
amazing. And look at you now. Yeah. But I wanted to talk about the woman who's made today possible, right? You said earlier about how she ensured that you went to the best schools. She knew what she wanted from you as her only child, first child?
So I have 2 other.
But for a long time you were her only child. So at the time you were her only child. What did that teach you?
So it taught me perseverance. I learned that a lot from my mom. My mom had to do a lot of jobs just to make sure that I had the best. If I had to go to school and they said, oh, this person brought a new lunchbox and I needed a new lunchbox, the next day or 2, I would get a new lunchbox. So it made me persevere, made me know that anything is possible. I need to strive harder at everything that I want to be, and I know I can become whatever I want to be if I put my mind to it. So that taught me throughout my upbringing or throughout my life.
And I love to hear that from generations of strong women. Your grandmother, your mother, and then you. You spoke about education. Let's talk about that. Where did you go to school?
So I started my primary from God's Grace International School. That's around Amanor. It was one of the biggest schools at that time. So I started from God's Grace International School up to class 3. Then we moved to Koforidua, and I continued at Universal Preparatory School. Then I had to come back again to Accra. I was around in GHS 1, and I came back to Accra to continue. I continued at the Institute of Divine Education. It was around the sea, around getting close to around Choco. I finished there, then gained admission to Infantima Girls Secondary School. So I was there, finished my Infantima Girls Secondary School. My results came back. You know, if you want to do medicine, at that time it was a straight 8 A's. If you don't have that straight 8 A's, then
you'd have to go through another route.
I remember I applied to almost all the schools, and they go back, had said, go and do biochemistry, go and do this, go and do pharmacy. And I had a lot of my family telling me, oh, I think you should do that. Maybe later you can, but I was like, no. I want to be a doctor. That is what I want to be. I don't want to do any other thing. I know all the others are also quite good. Why not? But if I tell you how I even ended up where I ended up.
Oh, please go ahead. I want to hear it.
So like my mates had gotten their results. People had gone to school. I was still at home. And they're like, oh, why don't you go and do pharmacy? Why don't you go and do this? A lot of advice was coming through. I'm like, no. So by then my mom was in the UK, like I said. So I was like, oh, why not also travel outside? So I went to our post office box. My grandma, in the old time, we like post office box. She sent me one of the days. I went to the box and I saw a leaflet say study in Ukraine, study medicine in Ukraine. I'm like, whoa, Eureka, that's it. So I got the flyer. I didn't even call, at that time I think mobile phones were not too popular. So I just picked the flyer, went to a telecommunication center. Made a call. They directed me to Laboni. I took Trotsky. I didn't tell anyone. I went there. by myself. When they met the receptionist, I'm like, oh, I saw your flyer, study in Ukraine. I want to study in Ukraine. Why not? Who do I speak to? So then they directed me to the people. I spoke to them. They showed me pictures of people that were there and all that. And when I came back, I gave my grandma the story. And was like, hey, are you sure it's not a scam?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're going to end up anywhere? I've heard of a lot of stories, people traveling and they take people other places. But thankfully, my grandmother's brother, that's my grand uncle to say, during those times, they studied in the Soviet Union by then. So they've had an experience. They had 2 of their siblings study in Russia or then the Soviet Union. So then they made the follow-up. They made calls. They had families who were still there. They called them
who
and
could
verify. Like, oh yeah, this is genuine. And then that was how my process started. My mom had to send money down because you had to pay your fees in dollars. It wasn't an easy thing, but my mom was like, no, don't worry. If I have to do 3 jobs or 4 jobs, she was then a care worker, and she was able to raise that money alone, about almost a lot of dollars at that time. Almost like about $10,000 to $12,000, because my tuition, my hostel fees, my feeding, and all that had to come in place, and then that was how come I ended up in Ukraine.
I mean, the wait for the money, because you had gone through the point where it had been verified, and you were so sure that you were this close to going to Ukraine to study medicine, but then you had to wait for the money.
I had to wait for the money.
So I mean, that wait period, as a young girl, perhaps 18 at the time, what was that wait like?
So I was like, well, I had a friend tell me, so what if you don't get the money? What would you do? I'm like, I know my mom will get the money. Like, I have that confidence. I don't know. I'm like, no, even if my mom has to get a loan or something, I know my uncle is in the UK. I had family members. I had a grandfather who was a lecturer in Legon by then. He was pushing me to do other courses in Legon. I'm like, okay, I'm sure they could all support. I get backing, like somebody would say, I get backing. So I felt, even if my mom couldn't raise, I'm sure my uncles or those around could support, and then definitely
so you did not need a plan B.
Exactly. So I knew it was going to come to pass, and then it actually
and then
came.
you did. So how long were you in Ukraine for?
So I was like 6.5 years.
Let's talk about the degrees you pursued when you came into the country. One at the University of Ghana Business School, and then the current one, which is International Public Health with Liverpool. In Liverpool. Right. Liverpool, how are you managing that?
So as a hybrid.
Okay.
So there are times I go to the UK, and then there are times I do some online.
Why do you want to pursue more education, particularly with the management course you took at University of Ghana Business School?
Yes. You know, after housemanship or the internship, after medical school, you do a 2 years housemanship or internship. After that, it takes a longer time for the government to post you to another government facility. So I was at home around almost like 6 months. And by then, my mom had moved to Ghana. My siblings were also there. I had to support in a way, because then my mom was getting older. She's tired. So then I couldn't be at home after 6 months, I couldn't stay home any longer. So then I had to move into private practice. I saw an ad, and then I went to private practice. So my first private was a Medifem multi-specialist hospital. So I was there for almost 5 years. And then later I moved to head another facility called Supreme Specialist Scan and Hospital. So during this period, I realized that I'd gained a lot of private practice experience, yes. And comparing private practice and the government sector, I'm sure you know there are a lot of differences.
You tell us. What are the differences? What are the differences?
Yes. So I believe in private practice, there's more patient-centered care, and they have time for you. Unlike the government sector, you go next, they just scribble something for you and then you go. So I loved that experience compared to the government sector. Previously, I think I forgot to mention, there was a time I went to Kolebu with my grandmom because she was ill, and the doctor apparently had told her that she should report at a certain date, and I think my grandmom defaulted on that day. She didn't go on that day. So like the little girl with her, I went to the hospital with her. When we got there, the doctor said, "Why are you here when I asked you to come to so date?" And the doctor was angry. He opened his door and walked us out, that he wasn't going to see my grandmom.
You don't say?
Yes. And that was a turning point for me. That was like, wow, no matter what, I have to be a doctor to take care of my grandma, take care of my family.
How old were you at that time?
So I think I'll be around 12 or 13 years old, yes. So having that in mind and how the government sector was and me having an experience in the private sector, I was like, no, I think I love and I enjoy being in the private sector because I feel I get more time with my patients. I have the time for them. I'm able to explain everything to them for them to understand and even offer them to ask me questions.
Right.
So I enjoyed and I didn't feel like going back to the government sector, even though at a point they were asking, oh, there are postings. Would you like to go back to the government sector? I'm like, no, I think I'm enjoying
private practice.
And when I had to head Supreme Hospital as the doctor in charge, that was when the management bit came up. It was a new hospital, so I helped set up from getting specialists, getting departments, different departments on there, recruiting nurses, recruiting doctors, like the whole healthcare kind of getting them on board.
Right.
Then I was like, okay, then I was able to do it because even though it was my first time, and I'm like, if I'm doing this so well and I'm able to manage a hospital, why not get something to back it? Why not get a degree to back it?
And that's why you did.
And that was when I went into the clinical leadership and management.
Program.
Yes. And that was what has led me into my new job now. Yes.
I see. Let's take a look at the life of Dr. Ankomah, from when she was a child to who she is now in the City Oak segment. Oh, looks like you transitioned to short hair not long ago.
Not long ago, yeah,
Okay,
you're right.
so how old is your pixie?
So I think about a year.
Anyway, and look at that. I love that. It looks very, very, very beautiful. Anyway, what you just saw in the C2Oak segment, which is brought to you by the Kids toothpaste brand. So if you're looking for something for your children to protect their gum, prevent cavity, and make their teeth strong and healthy, and give them a fresh breath all through the day, I recommend really Kids toothpaste. Is suitable for children between the ages of 2 and 6 years old. You can rely on its quality. It's approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. Anyway, let's come back to the conversation. Dr. Ankomah is still here with us. So today, you're still in private practice.
Yes.
And you're with St. Michael's?
St. Michael's Specialist Hospital.
I see. What is it like there? What do you do there?
I'm the clinical affairs manager at the hospital. So I see to the day-to-day clinical affairs of the hospital. Then sometimes I do run the GP clinic as well. So those who come on appointment that need to see a GP, I'm around. Anytime there's an emergency, I'm around. I still setting because I still love the clinical work as well. So even though I'm still doing administrative, I still go back to my clinical work.
I see. And there are some, doctors who would say that they can find jobs to do, but over your 10-year career, you have gone through 3 or 4 facilities.
Yes.
You've had very great positions. What do you think worked for you?
I would say is the feedback I was getting from my patients.
Right.
So I've had people come back to me like, oh, when I went home, we couldn't stop talking about you. And we realized there's something different about you and compared to other doctors we've seen.
Right.
So I think anytime I got that feedback, I was like, wow, then I'm doing something right. I need to go ahead and continue doing that and make sure I'm doing more.
But what do you think you do right, really?
Well, I think I relate with my patients very well. I have a very good interpersonal relationship with my patients. When you are sitting in front of me as a patient, I see you as my sister, my auntie, or my grandmom, depending on your age, and I make sure I make you comfortable such that it will be like a conversation. It won't be like a doctor and the patient. What I say is what you have to do. So I try to partner with my patients a lot. Or I ask you, what do you think? I think I want to do this for you, or I want to do this for you. This is going to help you. What do you think? So I made them part of the whole management, and they feel part of it. Unlike somebody asking you, okay, you need to stop this, do exercise. And I realized that what most doctors tend to do is they just give the patients what to do, and they don't allow the patients also play a role in their management. You need to know that it is the patients, they are going to go back home to take their medication.
Right.
What do you think? What do you think if they go back home, they'll take the medication you prescribed? You need to make them understand, make them be a part of it, make them understand why they have to take those medications. So that has been my practice. I think it comes easy. I don't have to even think about it.
Right.
It comes consciously or unconsciously, and I tend to do that. So.
We are very happy to hear and very proud of you, and hopefully the other doctors are listening to you, because it's refreshing to hear a doctor say that my patient is, comes first, not I'm thinking of how many patients I can look at and then get the money and go. But thank you so much for that. But now what you in your hospital pena or you take the hospital to the people as well.
Exactly.
You're more in home kakra. Doctors act for Ghana.
Yes.
No,
a group of doctors, mostly from Ukraine, Russia. You're free Ukraine, Russia by. When we were there, one of the things we get people saying, we need to come back, come and give back to your country. So your formers it was a group of doctors be bringing coming together, say your outreaches, your remote areas, and you call more health care. More training. The very one that's Mikai Pie, BBNE, na youth, we go with people to train them on a vocation. So aside giving them health care for free, now you're more
Insano Juma
so. Yes, even till now. Yes.
That is a munyam
sometimes you seek sponsorship. In Sabia, they are willing, like companies, they are willing to sponsor, and now institutions that they're willing to sponsor. And now if I would be my skaka, then amongst us, your contribution,
Oh, share if you take a casual looking for henna. Through more outreach.
I think
in the thousands.
Over 5,000, because many prior to BBNE every day be a need to mission nipa bear 200.
Okay.
And you cohort for 3 days.
Oh, that's the one day affair.
Exactly, you cohort for.
I see.
Until you take your time. There are times you call orphanages. I know they're just a day something. You do your donation. You show money at it. But you call outskirts. You call farther places. Usually 3 days. They are sure me more thousands, about 5,000.
I see. And it will be one episode the what doctors ask for Ghana. If I know one on free.
Okay, or call your social media handles now. Type in actually Instagram, Facebook. Or call doctors actor. Open who numbers no they can pick the numbers and then send their donations. It was our numbers so.
Anyway, Ushia day were Ukraine. I know Zanka bet me anywhere in Europe.
Yeah.
I didn't know decide yes or Ghana.
Well, I had not percent can me call UK because not me mammy were UK no. Not every term be I am na me call UK.
Right.
Sometimes me call you Juma be crying some scabi number, but yeah. So the not me percent me call UK. That was the idea.
Right.
But later not predecessor someone na mama ba Ukraine and go back to Ghana. They're like, oh, I was a bad because once Ukraine and they don't deal so much in tropical diseases,
right,
like the malaria, the enteric fever, typhoid fever, all those ones. And see, the idea was it was a me banner maybe home Ghana so sanya manyaman you treating fa. Although you are trying with a book, but because they only need sanya manyaman, you don't own time home patients or more malaria or that was just an example, but there are other diseases are not. Is not particularly known. Say Obehu was our country. Until the idea was say Yembra Ghana some of those tropical diseases.
Right.
Now you a good grip on that, and then later the particular baby and na yako. Until me Ghana with that idea no.
Some be tropical diseases. And now Abeka. What made you stay?
Well, I got married. Me worry.
Okay. Odonso
kaho.
Okay.
Me nam kolibua na me share me husband.
No so your doctor.
And
now UK dreams no. And
na wo ho because still na me feel say was because no ma ko ho na me feel say person me come back. I like the living there. But I say, oh, you can also make it here. And who here say, ube to Kwan sana, you can make it. Oh, Ghana, so you can still make it in Siono Kaya sana. Still, me work and I think it hasn't been bad. Yeah,
it hasn't been bad.
Even though there has been a lot of jackpot around, most doctors are leaving.
I know, and I was going to come to that. Still, you have the opportunity to travel abroad and work where things will be better for you. Do you have plans of leaving? Anna?
Maybe later. Yes, I was looking at doing a PhD and I've applied for some scholarships. Minyasa scholarship na, why not?
Right. But because said DNA mo doctors ni pi mo fi hako.
Remuneration, you see kind of yen kano. It's thinking of the kind of ejuma I know ebe mo ka say doctor dear wakitia wo heaven. But doctor no we busia. One my also assure me also tia fees just like any other person. And the other painful part in the crane say, oh yare cry one also utia oka. Meanwhile, other institutions, other places, other corporates, omo insurance, I dama omo. I am using insurance, so some sick and request akra. Omo yibi enfanko hospital. But yeah, doctors na I sabi my mouth for no. Yeah, be yes, ube tu bottom sika. Edia someone yari.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, that was why strike be na ye call and see conditions of service na ye kano. Na we no, the only thing you get is you get free mortuary stay for 2 weeks. You know, which is which is how like you can't think of that. Yeah, first no my waiver. I think upe say o cracker bar. Utoka now can do a port now. Wavy charges no more port no wavy side off. But later that was one of the good privileges auntie. We at least.
And then also what much sign.
Oh, major cry.
Oh, I see.
Until we a doctor waiting be fat trotrosa and now waiting aga that cancer now waiting
to talk.
Because last time the patient be share me what trotro mo say oh doc. And I was met here my wife. You can just imagine.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, doctor.
I think I open tema ko hospital la ko show bi na o te trotro.
So sometimes baby normal place always when you can't luxury. But as a doctor no say common basic things you can't only mean and casa ko pay mortgage bi na fee bi obe rent is exactly. Yes, I know. But
I mean, when you look back, do you have regrets coming back?
Sometimes I do, but when I look at how far and I see what God has done in my life, I feel that maybe I'm being too ungrateful. I'm being a little bit ungrateful because now I have kids. And they've started school, and I'm like, maybe if I was in the UK, my kids can go to a very good school. I won't have to spend so much on it. On their fees and all that. But I'm here, and then I have to pay thousands of fees for my kids. Yeah, and so when I think about that aspect, I'm like, maybe I should have been better. Or maybe if you want to do more courses and other things in Ghana here, either you're not getting those courses or you have to pay. Over there, you can get scholarships and all that. So sometimes, about 20% of the time, I think I have some regrets. But I feel what I have achieved so far is not bad at all. Yes.
You see, and so the Obama you're a doctor. We are managers and and I was a mommy of 2 beautiful children. Exactly. And I was a wife. Yes. And so let's look at a typical day in your life. Yes, 360.
Dr. Laurencia Naa Norley Ankomah is a passionate, self-motivated, and confident medical doctor. With a decade experience in private clinical practice, she exudes a holistic grasp of the fundamentals of private sector healthcare delivery system. As a physician, Dr. Laurencia Ankomah has a people-oriented persona and enjoys communicating and counseling her patients on appropriate health practices. Currently, she is the Clinical Affairs Coordinator at Ghana's biggest private hospital, the St. Michael Specialist Hospital. She is a volunteer doctor involved in rural and urban medical outreaches. That's the Doctors Act Ghana, educating, sensitizing the public on healthy practices while demystifying topical health puzzles.
Dr. Laurencia is a lively person. She's always carrying a smile. She's patient-centered. She puts her smiles in every patient she comes into contact with.
She is somebody who has a very, very high sense of duty. Dr. Laurencia, thank you for joining the team. Your impact is already felt. Know that we love you.
Anyway, hospital, power.
Very.
Talk to me about that, please.
It's Ghana's biggest private hospital. Yeah, and then it's a one-stop shop. Everything you want, you get over there. We do open heart surgeries there. We have a cath lab. If it comes to chance that by chance we have to do that for you, it can be done there for you. When it comes to diagnostics, it can be done there for you. We have all the specialties from cardiologists, urologists, pediatricians, gynecologists.
Wow.
Yeah, you name it. Dental services. It's a one-stop shop.
And the board in there.
Oh, yeah, very affordable. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because we want to be able to reach out to people as well.
La Paz in Fanewo.
Brantier, a Betty Link,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
In Tuba is one of the tallest buildings. We do a Brantier area where
Now, see, I was surprised, but because I want you to stew over the surprise, no? At this point, the Maminka Kel 360 wants them. Kel 360 toothpaste is one of the brands from Samara company. If you're looking for something for your entire family, try Kel 360 toothpaste because it will brighten your teeth. It will prevent cavity, unya kakane, gum problems, na gum decay, and it's suitable for children from 6 years and above. Also, it's approved by the Food and Drugs Authority, which means, as always, you can rely on its quality. Anyway, na me kasemi was surprised bima. Michelle, are you ready?
I am.
Are you ready? I mean, what's the most important person to you, would you say? Outside of your husband, outside of your children, outside of your mom?
Okay. Maybe my pastor.
Your pastor. Na pastor dey hoka dey na chelo. Pastor nka ho. Pastor hoka dey na chelo. Try again.
My sisters.
Oza.
Yes.
How many of them do you have?
I have 2.
Oh, I see. And you're a big sister.
Yeah, big sister.
Oh, okay. Na big sister ya na no ke am kakra. Ana me boa.
Kakra.
Okay. And then ono so be no ko kakra.
I knew it.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you.
Your favorite color.
Yeah.
Oh, is that your favorite color?
Yes, purple, and I love chrysanthemums. Yes.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, thank you. See you. Hey, and I called you.
And she didn't say anything. Hey. Laurencia and Lady Lauren and Pabeni. I can imagine that, you said you knew, but I had to coax it out of you. I had to force it out of you. But that's your sister.
Yes.
And I can see from the smiles, you're so happy.
Yeah.
She was telling her that she almost guessed it was you. She couldn't have guessed it was you. Because there are 2 of them.
Yes.
So what made you think that it could have been here?
Because I know she'll be readily available.
Right.
And when I actually came here, the book, I saw her name in the book.
Oh, you almost gave us away.
Yes. So when the security man brought the book, I was like,
what's going
Lauren.
on?
She was like, no, that's my sister. So I was telling the security man, that's my sister. When was she here?
Oh.
And then he was like, last month.
He actually told you that.
Yes.
I like
so when I was in
that.
the makeup room, I actually called her that, I'm here. And I just saw her name and I was just telling them that, that's my sister. And I just forgot about it. And I was like, okay.
No, and what did you say on the phone?
I have a customer in this building, so I just...
Yeah, she said that.
Fantastic. But what does it feel like coming on the set of the PL show to come and see us celebrate your sister, your big sister at that?
Yeah, it's so unexpected, but I'm so happy. I didn't know that I'll be invited for this interview. It was just this morning, and I had to just come.
And then you had to.
I love your surprise.
I told you. I don't play small. I play big. And I think I have done that. Yeah. But I mean, if you were to describe your sister to someone else, what would you say?
A lot of good words. Excellent, dedicated, committed. I don't know, but she's an excellent person, a role model for us. So we look up to her.
Amazing.
And in her profession, she's gone so far, and we are very proud of her.
If there was something about her you want her to do more or less of, what would that be?
To go all out. I think she's already started doing that.
Right.
And I want to see her on international platforms as well, because I've seen her granting more interviews lately. So when I got this, I was like, hey, so now she's also dragging me into her interview. But I want to see her go very far beyond the borders of the country. Yes.
To hear your younger sister say the things that she said about you, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel so good. It makes me feel that I need to continue doing what I'm doing and do more, because I have people, or I have nations looking up to me. Yeah, so it really gives me more fuel. It fuels my desire to do more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for helping us surprise Laurencia. We have a package from our sponsors for you. Because we want to appreciate you for coming here. We can't wait to host you too, because we want to hear, the stories that Laurencia is hiding from us. We want to hear all of it from you. But thank you so much for coming along today, Lady Lauren. I like the fact that there's lady there.
Yes, she added the lady. The lady wasn't there before, but we used to call her lady at home.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden she's like, no, I'm going to add a lady officially to my name.
To the name.
Like,
you see that there. We'll continue our conversation because we are not done at all.
Okay.
We have a few things to cover. And I believe that the young people who are watching you, who may have similar dreams, similar stories like you, are picking a thing or two from it. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to the Kel Toothpaste PL show. Let's continue our conversation now. We've talked about your childhood. We've talked about the work you do today. And we're still on that. Because there's something else you do. You do what I do.
Yes.
So talk to us about it so that I know whether you take my job in the future.
Well, it started all from church. I started giving announcements at church, and then doing the church adverts and all that. And I think there was a producer in the church, and then he saw most of the things I was doing. I was like, we have a show, a health show. You're a doctor, so why don't we get you on board? So we started the show. The show is called Health and Life with Dr. Daly. As I first went on as a guest as a doctor, and I was being interviewed. Then one day the host couldn't make it. She had traveled, and we're like,
why not?
You can do the job. And they put me on the seat, and it was good. And then I have been hosting the show.
And how has it been? What's the experience like for you from GP, to a presenter?
Yeah, so it was good. And now I had to learn more about public speaking and how to not to cut so many times to make the editors work very difficult.
I know.
Yes, so I didn't know a lot about those things, but now I've had to learn those things also, and how to speak and how to communicate, public speaking and all that. I took an online class on public speaking and how to enunciation and all that. So I think I got out of my world of medicine and then came into hosting, and I think it's been
I
interesting.
see.
You know, when I was growing up, at first I wanted to be a news caster.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, a host so I think that is
You're
coming
just
to
coming
play.
full circle.
Yeah,
You're just coming full circle.
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But we also know that the God factor is really important to you. Where do you think you got that from?
Yeah, so like from my childhood upbringing, my grandmom was a staunch Christian. As little as I was by then, she would teach us how to fast, how to pray, would always follow her to church. And I knew that in my situation, there had to be a God factor, because even though I had just one parent who was taking care of me, I knew God was a great provider. God was making things possible for my mom. Even though it looked like my mom was always had things ready and available for me, I felt it was God that gave her that ability. So I never lost hope or never lost or go against God. I'd always been with God. Even when I traveled to Ukraine, I was alone, out there in a different world.
Really cold.
Really cold. You had other colleagues doing other things. I knew that, no, I have a God I serve. I had people that were looking up to me. I need to focus on my books and come back to be the best person that everybody's looking up. So I think God has played a major role in who I've become today, and I give God that utmost praise.
Absolutely. What is the one thing that the rest of us pay for, but you do for yourself and save some money in the process?
Yes. So I realized that I loved decorating. When I went to Ukraine, you were alone sometimes. Because the language was also a barrier at the initial stages, you had to do things by yourself, a lot of DIYs, and then during parties and other things, I find myself doing the decor, either using curtains and other things to make decorations. So those are some of the things that I do for my children's birthday and my sisters and other people or friends. I do the decors, mostly the balloon decor for them. I went for a training for that, and then now I'm able to do a balloon decor.
I mean, well, who made you want to go and train?
Well, I saw it online, and I realized it was something that was becoming very popular. I'm like, and why not learn about this? Because during my birthdays, I get people sending me these balloon flowers or balloon decor, and I'm like, oh, it's really nice, and I think I could do it. I was watching videos on YouTube, and that was how I got to learn. So even before I went to the class, I was able to do it, and so the class was just more like a polishing thing for me to go commercial. But although I haven't gone commercial yet, maybe
in the future.
In the future, yes.
We're happy to hear that. Let's take a look at the DIY segment.
So today we'll be doing a balloon garland, and these are some of the things that you need to make a balloon garland. Obviously, you will need your balloons, and to make a garland, because we are doing a lot of balloons, you can be using a hand pump. Obviously, you're going to get tired along the way, so then I'm going to use the electric balloon pump. That's going to help me pump so much balloons at a shorter time. Then you need a fishing net or a fishing line to use. That's what I'm going to use to put all my balloons on to make into a garland. Then you need some scissors, a double-sided tape. Also, yes, a balloon shine. So what a balloon shine does is it keeps the shine of the balloon, because balloon after some time oxidizes. I pump my balloons in twos, then I tie them together. Yes. It's now time to start the garland. I just tie the fishing net on a pair. This will form more like the base of the garland. Then I'm going to put all the other pairs on the fish net. Move to the staircase now. I'm still using the fishing nets just to fix it on the stairs. So our garland is almost done, but before everything gets completed, we have to have smaller quads or smaller balloons just to fill in anywhere we find holes. So that is why you see the smaller ones here. So now that we are done with our garland, we'll just spray with a balloon shine just to still maintain the glossiness of the balloon. Thank you for watching my DIY with me. This is my balloon garland on a staircase. I hope you enjoyed it.
Look at that, all those balloons. Anyway, the DIY segment is brought to you by the Kel Charcoal Toothpaste brand. It will give you fresh breath, whiter teeth, reduce dental plaque, prevent cavity, and make sure your gum healthy as well. It's approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. And then I guess your friend of Dr. Laurencia Naa Norley Ankomah. I've seen the work you do. Why are you not commercial yet? What are you waiting for? All that money is going by.
I know. I think it's time. I've not really created some time for that, and I think I have to.
You have to. That fees now go to Anyway, I mean, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? You've done 10 years of your career already. Yeah. Where do you see yourself in the next 10?
So in the next 10 years, I would like to be in research, researching into pediatric infectious diseases or tropical diseases. Because I feel in Ghana, we don't get to do a lot of research. Most of our research are based on what has been done either by the Black Americans or outside Europe and other places. So I believe it's a place that most doctors are not looking at. Many a times they just want to be in the clinical space and then just do the clinical. But I feel we need to go back to the research and then do research things about us and then bring out solutions for us instead of just depending on what has been done elsewhere. Right. So I believe in the next 10 years, I'll be in research and I would have done my PhD. So I'll be a doctor. Yes.
For emphasis.
For emphasis. Yes, and then I can give back to my country, Ghana.
For the young girl who is looking at you right now, identifies with your story, has the same dream that perhaps you had when you were younger, what would you say to that young girl or young boy watching you?
So the first thing I'll say is never leave God out of everything that you do. God should be your number one factor in everything. Factor God. Make sure that you continue believing in God. With God, all things are possible. There's one verse that has kept me through this life. Is Philippians 4 verse 13. It says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. True. So the young ones out there, I'll say, have God, let God, be close to God. God will lead you to greater heights. God can lead you to where, when you even think about you with your own imagination, your own thinking, you wouldn't get there. But know that with God, with perseverance, with determination, you can be wherever you want to be. The sky is just your starting point. You can be whatever you want to be with God on your side.
I was telling you that we have a series of presents for you. The first one was your sister. This is the second one. And like I explained to your sister who graciously surprised you for us, these are products from our sponsors, Samara Company Limited. They are producers of Roma mosquito coils, and they are also producers of the Kel toothpaste brands, Kel Kids, Kel 360. How old are your children?
So I have a 4 and a 2-year.
Yay! So they can use Kel Kids.
We've been using Kel Kids. So anyway, I was just smiling. When
goodness, we love that.
They love it, especially the strawberry.
Yeah,
they love it.
I'm so glad to hear. So thank you so much. Our final one, which is also very special to me. I don't know why I pitched, but yeah, sounds good. It's this.
Wow.
This because and of course. This is really important to me because you can consume this, but it's also so symbolic. Wow. You can put it in your office. When the going gets tough and you set your eyes on it, you know that phenomenal lady, you are queen in your own right. Yeah. And we hope that, like you said, you go beyond the skies, because the sky is only the launch pad for where you want to get to. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. And we have enjoyed your presence here. We loved you.
I loved it.
Thank you so much for coming. Anyway,
thanks for having me too.
Absolutely. And thank you too for watching us today. I'm Keminni Amanor. This has been the Kel Toothpaste PL Show. If you missed this episode, there's always a playback on YouTube or on Facebook. Remember, the show is brought to you by the Kel Toothpaste brands, Kel 360, Kel Kids, and Kel Charcoal. My costume is by Asaraji, and my makeup and that of Dr. Laurencia, my guest today, is also by Cover GH. We hope to see you here same time next week. Bye-bye.